Rockford's home for classic rock, 96.7 The Eagle. Good morning, it's Double T. Special guest joining me. She's a singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist from Blackmore's Night. Please welcome Candice Night. Candice, how you doing this morning?
I'm great. Thank you so much, Terry. How are you?
No problem. You've got a new album out called Nature's Light. Pretty darn exciting, isn't it?
I'm very excited about this. I think this kind of music is just what the world needs right now, coming out of this dark period, coming out of this pandemic, hopefully seeing some light on the horizon, coming out of the winter time, feeling the spring rays on your face of the sunshine. So I think it's all tying in together for a perfect moment to release Nature's Light for you guys.
You know, for someone that's maybe not familiar with Blackmore's Night, kind of explain what it's all about and how it got started.
It's tricky to explain. It's basically a very melodic variety of music. I heard somebody describe us the other day as bard rock. Instead of hard rock, it's bard rock, because a lot of our songs have roots going way back to the 12 to 1500s. And not that you would recognize those songs, but unless you're, a scholar in classical, medieval, or Renaissance music. But the funny thing is that what we wind up doing is taking these songs and we're kind of just like dusting them off and breathing new life into them. Their melodies are so strong and so magical, and we update them. We add new lyrics, new instrumentation, new arrangements to them, and we've got a 7-piece band. We take the songs out, we go on the road and travel and play historical venues and castles, and we dress up in Renaissance fantasy sort of garb, and people come to our shows dressed up too, and it's just like a big costume party wherever we go. It's just so much fun. But having said that, it's not all Renaissance music. Of course, we also do such a variety. We do ballads, we do instrumentals. My husband Richie Blackmore from Deep Purple and Rainbow, he's playing electric guitar, acoustic guitar, nickel harp, hurdy-gurdies, and then, of course, I'm doing the singing. But it's just great. We do ballads, we do tavern music, so everybody can sing along to it. We do cover songs of everything from, we've done Sonny and Cher, I Got You, Babe, all the way to Uriah Heep, or going back to some of Richie's old stuff, too. So there's really just something for everybody on this CD.
When I listen to the album, it really does take you to another place. And as I'm listening to the songs, things are popping up in my mind. Like I was listening to this song, Feather in the Wind, and it took me to like a scene back in like medieval times, maybe a Renaissance village with everybody doing everything that they do during the day. It was really neat.
Yeah, that's exactly where we draw a lot of our inspiration from, is going back to those times. Richie's more of a purist. He loves reading about all of that stuff. He loves really kind of listening to the purist side of the music. I'm sort of more into the fantasy element of it, where I love the visuals of just, no road rage, no ambient lighting, no texting devices or screens. It's just like going back and like having that star-filled sky, having the maiden looking out of the stone castle window and seeing the night right off in the distance. It's a very romantic time period if you don't look at the reality of the situation where, there was like the plague and non-working plumbing and stuff, like no electricity. Like just looking back to the fantasy of that era and looking through the veil of time, it's just such a beautiful, beautiful visual. And going back also to just them being really surrounded by nature, which I'm always saying that nature is such a healing source for us. So I'm seeing, like, even now that we've all been in this, under this pandemic for so long, and a lot of us have not been able to hang out with our friends or go to big social gatherings, I'm seeing a lot of people get very introspective and finding the peace within themselves and walking through the woods more or walking on the beach more, just really just getting out and breathing the fresh air. And that's just so wonderful to see that, because it really is just healing power and just the magic of nature. It's in front of us all the time, the miracles of a sunset. It's just incredible. So nature's a big source of inspiration, as well as going back a couple of 100 years, too.
I'm talking to Candice Night from Blackmore's Night. The new album is Nature's Light. And you brought up that it's a romantic time, and you happen to be in a band with your husband. Does that make it even more romantic when you're putting together the music?
Well, that's a good question. We've been together for 32 years, so we're trying to keep that romance in there. A little. No, I'm kidding. It's actually, we had this really great source of communication, of just being so comfortable around each other, of this great respect of each other. We're just a great team, I think, on the stage and off the stage. My weaknesses are his strengths and vice versa, so we really kind of, help each other out and complete each other. If one of us is down, the other one is lifting the other one up and supporting each other. So for me, I mean, being able to stand on stage or be in a recording studio next to someone who's got the kind of history and the kind of genius that he has, and just be able to sit back and watch him go, pull on that creative freedom and kind of pull from another source and channel this incredible music that comes through him. And it's not just playing guitar, it's playing guitar, hurdy-gurdy, nickel harp. There's all these instruments that he's involved with now. I'm playing a whole array of medieval and Renaissance woodwind instruments that we kind of weave into a lot of these songs, too. So it's, we try to keep that romance going. We've got two little kids, so it's more of that family love at this point, I think. We try to have some quiet time after we put the kids to bed. We're working on that. But so I've got to stay up with him until 2 o'clock in the morning, but then I'm up with the kids at 6. So I figure when they go to college, I'll just sleep for a straight year and a half. That's my plan.
Yeah, no kidding. You got to catch up on all that sleep. You mentioned that you play all these different instruments. Now, did you always play a bunch of different instruments, or did that come on later?
No, I actually was brought up just playing piano, and probably not very well. I can kind of plunk out some melodies, and sometimes when I write, especially if I'm writing for my own solo stuff, I come up with the songs on the piano and just do the voice and piano all in one creative flow instead of piecing it together with music that Richie would create. But as far as my instruments, it's really kind of been this natural evolution, this journey of just trying to figure out what works within these songs. And of course, Richie can't play them because he's got his hands full playing the guitar. His hands are occupied. So what we were doing, he just really loved the way that the instruments of that time period, like the shawms and the Roush fifes, the crumb horns, love the way that they look. It's all like one singular piece of wood, and it's drilled out just perfectly, and just that wood, instead of going through plastic and metal, like that wood just feels so organic and really, again, brings you back to that time period of like a couple of hundred years ago, just the feel of it. So he started collecting them wherever we went around the world. We'd find these old, dusty, obscure sort of music shops, like in Prague, in Czech Republic. There'd be like this winding street just lit by lanterns, and you'd find like a little shop in the corner, and we'd pick up some of these instruments there. So wherever we went, we would collect them. But they wound up just basically hanging on our walls as decoration until one day I just was like, you know what, these things were born to create music, not to be wall decor. And I tried playing them, and I was so lucky that I was able to get the sounds out of them that we really needed. And so we've been in this band 24 years now, so I've been kind of working on my instrumentation repertoire, and at this point I do all the medieval ensembles and Renaissance ensembles. They just multi-track me like 14 times, and I've got like this huge Renaissance medieval ensemble that I'm playing, so it works out well for the record.
Wow, and doing that, do you think about back in the day when they were originally doing this music and they were just doing it by, as a whole group, creating that sound where you can track it in different ways?
Yeah, it's amazing. The interesting and the tricky thing, I think, about playing some of these instruments, specifically the ones that I'm playing, is because they're so organic that it's hard when you layer them up in the recording studio with electric instruments, which are like pitch perfect. They have to be pitched exactly to A440, and so if you're playing a keyboard or even a guitar, is usually pitched to the electrical instruments that's surrounding them on the track. But of course, when I come in with the shawms and the Roush fifes and the crumb horns and things like that, the pitching is kind of varied. Like you can work them out where it's true to each other, and you can make it really work well. But pitching it then to try to get it to sound, where it goes with the electrical instruments is a little tricky. So we're still learning about the recording process, and we wind up taking a lot of the electrical instruments out when we're trying to do the more organic instruments because we don't feel that they just fit very well together. So it's all just like this learning process of doing it. But at the end of the day, I mean, the big pageantry sounds that you get from it are just, like you hear on the title track, Nature's Light, they just sound amazing. They just bring so much joy and pleasure, and it really just sounds like the Queen is coming to town at a Renaissance fair or something, when you go visit those places.
And it sounds like a really exciting process of putting together a song. So when it comes down to it, what do you enjoy better, the process of putting together the music or taking the final product and playing it for the fans?
Oh my God, that's so hard to choose the two of them. When we craft the songs, I just feel like I love the idea of crafting. I love like putting those puzzle pieces together. I love the first time I hear a melody that Richie's playing on guitar, and then I come in and he goes, okay, sing this top line. That's our writing process. He goes, sing the top line over it, and then I just try to take that melody and absorb it and channel what I think it should be about. I just kind of close my eyes and listen to the melody and see what pictures are painted in my head, and then walk through the woods and just kind of really pull from another source and the nature that's around me and really craft that into words. But I hope that, when I'm doing the words and we're doing the songs, that people can see like reflections of themselves, so they're able to connect with the songs on a deeper emotional level instead of just listening to it, just from a song and an audio perspective. I want them to actually experience the song, which is just a different dimension of listening. But then when you get on stage and you're playing at a 12th century castle and that's your backdrop, it's not like a plasticky thing. It's like this amazing castle where if you put your hands on the stone walls, the stories that these walls have seen, that they could tell is just unbelievable. And then you look out, you see a couple of thousand people. They're all singing the words that you wrote. They have big smiles on their faces. It's a family show, so the parents will come. Usually the guy is usually someone who's a big fan of Richie's that have followed him for ages, who knows that the Blackmore name just means Blackmore brilliance no matter what instrument he's playing, and he's going to play the whole array of different instruments throughout the night. Then, the woman will come, because that's the wife will come, and she maybe likes a more ethereal vocal. They have the kids, because the kids like to dress up and just sing along to the songs, and then the grandparents come too, because they just like melodic music. And it's just amazing to see how many families come to our shows. The moon is rising overhead, everybody's in a good mood, positive energy is out there. If you see that once in a lifetime, you're blessed. And we're so lucky to be able to experience that every night when we go on tour. So that energy, you can't beat that energy. I just think that's pure magic.
You know what? You just gave me chills describing it.
That means you have to come to a show.
I have to definitely check it out for sure. Candice Night from Blackmore's Night. The album is called Nature's Light. It's out now. Thank you so much for taking the time, Candice, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. I had so much fun. Thanks. Take care.
Rockford's home for classic rock, 96.7 The Eagle.